Hello, everybody. Hello. You're welcome to Reflections from the Scroll. I feel like I should say 2021 episode because it's been a really long time since my last video. I'm super sorry, guys. Please bear with me. It's been a very rough and tough past few months, but hey, I'm here and Reflections from the Scroll is back. Please ignore that sound. So, yeah, I'm happy we're here together again. And today, I'm going to be sharing something that is very important. So you cannot know that feeling you have sometimes. I mean, this happens to me too. So I'm going to be telling categorically from my story, and I know you will relate. So sometimes you feel like, oh, you're not, on your A game in your Christian life. You're kind of judging yourself that, oh, I don't think I'm doing well. I don't think I'm 100% in my relationship with God. And then, while that period while you're having that feeling, suddenly something kind of strange, something not really nice, something bad happens to you. You begin to feel to yourself, oh, I know it's because I've offended God, it's because I've not been so right in my work. This is actually God punishing me. I have to go and confess and repent. That feeling. Now, this particular feeling has a brother or a sister, whatever you want to call it. It's like the opposite side of it. So that's why I decided to start from there. And this brother is where we're going to dwell our reflection on today. So the brother to this first feeling is when you think you are walking right with God, when you're telling yourself that you're doing so good in your Christian life, and then all of a sudden something bad happens to you. I know that feeling. You feel so disappointed, like God has disappointed me, despite how well I'm serving Him. Why will He allow this kind of thing to happen to me? And then, even at that point, you begin to mention names. After all, I serve God better than Nehemiah, I serve God better than John, I serve God better than James, and then God is keeping James, keeping John, and then allowing this kind of thing to happen to me. Like, you just feel so disappointed. And usually it just kind of kills your spirit. It makes you feel like, you know what, I don't even want to pray for now, I don't even want to do anything. That feeling, that's the feeling I'm talking about. Now, that feeling is a very strong epidemic that is taking place in the life of Christians today, my life inclusive. Now, I've been going through, and funny enough, it's not something that happens all the time. It's always once in a while. But if only our eyes can be open to see how far back it draws our spiritual life, how far back it drops our faith. And that the reason why that feeling is so dangerous is that even in that very short window that it happens, you probably mislead someone's faith. You probably say something that make you blaspheme. You probably do something that will make another person to say, you see, that's why I don't serve God. And that's it's not nice. You don't want to be in that situation. So now, I have, like I mentioned earlier, I always have that feeling too, which is really bad. But until recently, I stumbled on the remedy. Like, when you're having this skin issue for a very long time, and all of a sudden you stumble on this remedy that takes away all the blemishes on your face and you begin to glow. That is what has happened to me. I have found one key solution, and I told myself I must share because I know that other people are also in this shoe. What is the solution? I found out about how many are there? Four very strange guys. No, there are five actually. Paul and Silas is one team. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego is another team. Yo, guys, these guys are strange. In the midst of all they are going through, that was supposed to be an avenue for them to feel disappointed because they were worshiping God top notch, like top notch. They were worshiping God in the midst of, I mean, Christians don't get we don't get persecuted today, so to say. I mean, in some parts of the world, but at the time when these guys were, in the forefront, Christians were persecuted daily. Like, they killed Christians like chicken at that time, and they were still on top of their feet. But yet, what did they get? Paul and Silas got imprisonment. Yo, thanks. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were thrown into the furnace of fire for serving a God that is so kind. But what did they do? They taught you and I a lesson, everlasting lesson that we are still referring to today. Our children are still going to refer to those life lessons. They took that moment of disappointment, that avenue of disappointment, that situation that cause for disappointment. They carried it and they turned it into an altar, and from that altar they manifested the goodness of God. They preached the gospel even more, and guess what? From that altar, they had their life-changing encounter. They were able to convert more souls than they ever did. All through Paul's life in the Bible, I don't know how that man survived, because it was from one prison to the other. Like, he was literally being transferred, like from what did like from Coconut. There's this all these small prisons in Nigeria, Coconut prisons, to Kirikiri, like yo to Kirikiri to is it Akbongbo or some, some high prison like maximum Kirikiri. But yo, that guy kept his faith. He kept it because his eyes was fixed on something ordinary man cannot see. Like, I was just so, I stood in awe when this teaching came to me, because I don't think I've been in a situation that I'm in a very bad, rigorous, unbearable situations. Like, for God's sake, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were thrown into fire. At that point, when the king made that judgment that they were going to be thrown into fire, Omo, if not me, like, it was enough for someone to feel so disappointed. But they had that faith, they had it on, they turned the furnace of fire into an altar, and from there they preached. And what did the Bible tell us? The king, the whole village, the whole city began to serve the true and living God. You recently, I was listening to Priscilla Shara, and then she was sharing her experiences about how she's had very bad 1 year. It's been like 1.5, very short year, but she has lost, like, was it 8 or 6 family members in that period, including her mom's. And the one that struck me the most was when she mentioned that she was recently diagnosed of cancer. You know, immediately that feeling of disappointment was, gonna rush into my head, like, yo, this lady serves God. Like, Priscilla Shara is, she lives for God. She's a good teacher. She's a good teacher of the word. She, like, I love to listen to her. I mean, I love to listen to her. I love her teaching. I feel like she serves God. So why would this happen? I was already having that feeling, and thank God it was actually in that moment that this particular story of Paul and Silas actually came to me, right? Now, Priscilla Shira, having that experience, is going to turn that cancer experience into an altar, because I know she's not going to stop serving God. Even in that body, even in that soul, she's going to teach the word even more. And then now, this is an epidemic that I've been suffering for a very long time, feeling disappointed by God once in a while, long times. But with this story of Priscilla Shira's cancer, she has taken away a much more deeper cancer from my own spiritual body, because she has taken away that evil spirit that makes me feel God is disappointing me. God doesn't disappoint anybody. He does not. He does not. It's our impatience, our jealousy, our want for things we're not supposed to have, our inability to understand. That's why we feel God is disappointing us. And I'm really grateful that she has used that situation to kind of heal me. And Priscilla Shira, wherever you are, if you see this teaching, yo, it's from the bottom of my heart that I just want to say thank you. And guess what? I keep praying for you. I'm trusting God for her healing. I'm trusting God she gets well. But in this few period, in these few moments that she has, had to suffer that cancer, she has taken away a much more huger cancer from my body. And I'm really grateful. And I just said, you know what? I haven't done a video in a long time, but I have to hop on and share this one. It is very important. Guys, God doesn't disappoint anybody. If you find yourself in that situation where you feel like you're being disappointed by God, He's not doing what you want, turn it into an altar. It's better that way. Trust me, if you're the type who is shy, you can't preach, you can't evangelize, in that situation, you won't even know when you do it, because the situation, you just allow God to use it, and He's just doing His thing Himself. Yo, I know it's hard. I know that people, we all as Christians, we get into some real, permit me to say, some real shit. Yeah, sometimes you find yourself in some very deep, deep situation. But we have learned from Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego today. Turn it into an altar, and God is going to use it to glorify His name and also come through and deliver you. So if you're ever feeling disappointed, I want you to just get encouragement from these Bible verses. You could read Zephaniah 3 from 6 to 17. You could read Hebrews 4:13. You could read 1 Corinthians 2:9. Yes. So you get encouragement, and you could also go read the story of Paul and Silas. You could read the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I hope you get encouraged and stop feeling disappointed. Our God is too good to disappoint anybody. He doesn't disappoint anybody. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope you have a wonderful summer. I hope you have a wonderful time, and God bless.